A father walked unannounced into his child's cafeteria, expecting a simple lunch visit. What unfolded before his eyes would scar his memory forever. Welcome back, dear viewers. Before we dive in, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Drop a comment telling us your location. Are you in Texas, Canada, perhaps Kenya or Trinidad? We're eager to hear from you. Marcus Williams lived in an enormous mansion on the outskirts of the city. The house was so large and spotless, yet it felt eerily empty, like a museum where no one truly lived. Every morning, Marcus left for work before sunrise. Every evening, he returned long after dark when the streetlights were already glowing. Dinner was usually something Mrs. Patterson, the housekeeper, had prepared earlier and left in the fridge. Mrs. Patterson had worked for the Williams family for 12 years. She was kind and gentle, with silver hair and warm eyes. At the long dining table, a small chair always waited for Lily, Marcus's 9-year-old daughter. The plate and silverware were always perfectly arranged. But most nights, Lily barely touched her food. Lily was a very quiet child. She spent hours sitting by the big window in her room, drawing pictures with colored pencils. She drew flowers and birds near the lake behind their house. Mrs. Patterson loved Lily like her own grandchild. She would bring her cookies and ask her to come play in the garden. But Lily would just shake her head softly and say, "I want to wait until Daddy comes home." Marcus loved his daughter very much. But he believed that as long as she went to the best school and had nice clothes and a safe home, everything would be fine. He thought that working hard and making money was how fathers showed love. He called it taking care of responsibilities. One day, Marcus went to a parent-teacher meeting at Lily's school. That's where he met Diana Foster. She was Lily's teacher. Young, beautiful, and very smart. She had a warm smile and spoke in a gentle voice. "Lily is a wonderful student," Diana told him. "She's very creative and kind, but she's also quite shy. She needs a little more attention from you, Mr. Williams." Marcus felt uncomfortable. He realized he didn't know much about Lily's school life. What did she eat for lunch? Who were her friends? What made her happy? A few days later, Diana sent him a letter thanking him for coming to the meeting. She included a drawing Lily had made, a picture of a rainbow. After that, Diana sent emails every week with updates about Lily. Sometimes she included photos of Lily working on art projects or reading books. Her messages made Marcus feel relieved. Finally, someone was watching over his daughter when he couldn't. Diana's first visit to the house was on a day when Lily felt sick. She brought soup and crackers, saying, "Lily doesn't eat much at school. I'm worried about her." Marcus was grateful. Mrs. Patterson stood in the kitchen doorway watching silently. Her face looked troubled, but she didn't say anything. After that, Diana visited more often. She came for Lily's birthday. She came to see Lily's artwork. She always knew the right things to say. One evening, Diana sat beside Lily, who was drawing. "This child needs a mother," Diana said softly. "Every little girl does." Marcus heard those words and stayed quiet for a long time. He knew she was right. The house had everything, but it felt cold and empty. Sometimes the coldest houses are the ones with the most rooms. Soon, Marcus and Diana began meeting for coffee. Sometimes they talked at school. Sometimes they sat together in the garden while Lily drew nearby. Diana made Marcus feel like maybe he could be happy again, like maybe his daughter could have a real family. Mrs. Patterson noticed the changes. She watched Diana carefully, but she didn't say much. One day, she saw Diana holding Lily's hand near the front door. Diana was smiling, but her eyes looked cold. "Mr. Williams," Mrs. Patterson said quietly that evening. "I'm not sure about Miss Diana. Something doesn't feel right." Marcus frowned. "You're worrying too much, Mrs. Patterson. Diana is a good person. She truly cares for Lily." Mrs. Patterson didn't argue. She just poured his tea and walked away. 6 months later, the newspaper headline read, "Millionaire Marcus Williams finds happiness again." The wedding was small and private. Only close family and a few business partners attended. Diana wore a beautiful white dress. Lily stood beside her in a matching dress, holding a small bouquet of flowers. But Lily's face was pale and blank. When reporters asked Marcus how he felt, he smiled and said, "I'm lucky to have found someone who understands me and loves my daughter." That night, after all the guests left, the lights in the mansion stayed on late. Mrs. Patterson cleaned up the leftover food, the sound of plates clinking softly in the quiet house. Upstairs, Lily stood by her bedroom window holding an old drawing she had made. It was a picture of her mother, her real mother, Grace, smiling and holding Lily's hand. Lily looked at the drawing for a long time. Then she folded it carefully and put it in the bottom drawer of her desk. She replaced it with a photo from the wedding, her father and Diana smiling. Lily's eyes were sad and empty, but nobody noticed. 3 months later, life in the mansion changed quickly after the wedding. Diana moved into the house and took charge of everything. She decided what Lily would wear. She decided what Lily would eat. She decided when Lily would study and when Lily would sleep. "I'm a teacher," Diana would say with a smile when Marcus asked if she was being too strict. "I know what children need. Trust me." And Marcus did trust her. He was busy with work, meetings, phone calls, building projects. He left early and came home late, just like always. But Lily stopped drawing. She stopped sitting by the window. She stopped waiting for her father to come home. Mrs. Patterson saw the changes. She saw how Lily flinched when Diana called her name. She saw how Lily's hands shook when she ate dinner. She saw the fear in the child's eyes. One morning, Mrs. Patterson found Lily crying quietly in the laundry room. "What's wrong, sweet girl?" Mrs. Patterson asked, kneeling down. Lily shook her head quickly. "Nothing. I'm fine." "You can tell me," Mrs. Patterson said gently, but Lily just whispered, "Please don't tell Diana I was crying. Please." Mrs. Patterson's heart broke. That evening, she tried to talk to Marcus again. "Mr. Williams, something is wrong with Lily. She's not herself. She's scared." Marcus looked tired. "Mrs. Patterson, Lily is just adjusting. Diana says it takes time for children to adapt to a new parent. Be patient." "But sir." "Enough," Marcus said, not unkindly. "I appreciate your concern, but Diana is a professional. She knows what she's doing." Mrs. Patterson said nothing more. But she didn't stop watching. Lily's life at school became even worse. Diana was her teacher, which meant Lily could never escape her. At home, Diana controlled everything. At school, she controlled even more. In class, Diana would call on Lily over and over, asking her questions Lily didn't know. When Lily got an answer wrong, Diana would sigh loudly and say, "Really, Lily? You should know this by now." The other children would giggle. At lunchtime, Lily had to sit alone at a small table in the corner while the other students sat together, laughing and sharing food. Diana said it was because Lily was too slow and needed to focus on eating properly. Lily's lunch was always different from everyone else's. While the other children got warm meals, pasta, chicken, fresh fruit, Lily got cold leftovers. Sometimes the food looked old, like it had been sitting out too long. When Lily didn't finish her food, Diana would make her sit there until every bite was gone, even if it meant missing recess. "You're so ungrateful," Diana would say coldly when no other teachers were around. "Your father works so hard to give you everything, and you can't even finish your lunch. Hunger isn't always about food. Sometimes it's about love." Lily stopped talking at school. She stopped raising her hand. She stopped smiling. At night, she cried into her pillow so no one would hear. Marcus didn't know any of this. He thought Lily was quiet because she missed her mother. He thought she wasn't eating because she was a picky child. He thought everything was fine because Diana told him it was. But deep down, in a place he didn't want to look, Marcus felt something was wrong. He just didn't know how wrong. Not yet. It was a Tuesday morning in late November. Marcus sat in his office looking at plans for a new building, but he couldn't focus. He kept thinking about Lily. He hadn't seen her smile in months. She barely looked at him anymore. When he asked her about school, she just said, "It's fine, Daddy." But nothing felt fine. Marcus made a decision. "Cancel my afternoon meetings," he told his secretary. "I'm going to visit my daughter's school." His secretary looked surprised. "Is everything okay, Mr. Williams?" "I don't know," Marcus said quietly. "But I'm going to find out." He drove across the city in his black car, watching the buildings and trees pass by. His heart felt heavy. When he arrived at Westfield Academy, the security guard greeted him warmly. "Mr. Williams, good to see you, sir. Are you here for the donation meeting?" "Not yet," Marcus said. "First, I want to see Lily." "Where is the lunchroom?" "Right this way, sir." The guard led him through the quiet hallways. Marcus could hear the sound of children's voices, laughing, talking, playing. It sounded happy, but something told him to keep walking. They reached the lunchroom doors. Marcus stepped inside, and what he saw made his blood turn cold. The lunchroom was large and bright, filled with long tables where children sat eating and talking. The air smelled like warm food, tomato soup, fresh bread, baked chicken. Trays clattered. Children laughed. Teachers walked between the tables, smiling. It looked normal. It looked happy. Marcus scanned the room, searching for Lily. At first, he didn't see her. Then his eyes landed on the far corner of the room, away from everyone else. There, at a tiny table meant for one person, sat his daughter. Lily. Alone. Completely alone. While all the other children sat together at big tables, sharing food and telling jokes, Lily sat by herself. Her head was down. Her shoulders were hunched forward, like she was trying to make herself invisible. Marcus's heart clenched. He took a step closer, his eyes fixed on her. In front of Lily was a lunch tray, but something about it looked wrong. The other children had warm meals, pasta with sauce, chicken strips, fruit cups, chocolate milk. Their trays looked fresh and colorful. Lily's tray looked different. The food was cold. The bread was hard and crusty. The vegetables looked brown and wilted, like they'd been sitting out for hours. Her milk carton was dented and worn. It looked like leftovers, like garbage. Marcus's stomach twisted. He watched as Lily slowly picked up her fork. Her hand was shaking. She tried to take a bite of the cold food, then stopped. She put the fork down. Her thin shoulders trembled. Marcus started walking toward her, faster now. And then he heard a voice. A loud, sharp voice that cut through the noise of the lunchroom like a knife. Lily Williams, why aren't you eating? Marcus froze. He turned toward the voice. There, standing near the center of the lunchroom with her arms crossed, was Diana. His wife. Lily's stepmother. Lily's teacher. Diana's eyes were fixed on Lily, cold and hard. Her mouth was pressed into a thin line. I asked you a question, Lily, Diana said, her voice echoing across the room. Why aren't you eating? Some of the other children stopped talking. They turned to look at Lily. Lily's head dropped even lower. Her hands were shaking harder now. I'm not very hungry, Miss Diana, Lily whispered. Her voice was so soft, Marcus almost couldn't hear it. Not hungry? Diana's voice grew louder. You're never hungry, are you? Always wasting food. Always making excuses. Lily didn't answer. She looked like she wanted to disappear into the floor. Look at me when I'm speaking to you, Diana snapped. Slowly, painfully, Lily lifted her head. Tears were filling her eyes. Marcus's hands clenched into fists. His heart was pounding so hard he could hear it in his ears. Diana walked toward Lily's table. Her high heels clicked on the floor. Click, click, click. Like a clock counting down. She stopped right in front of Lily's small table and looked down at her with disgust. You will sit here until you finish every single bite, Diana said coldly. Do you understand me? I don't care if it takes all afternoon. You will not leave this table until that tray is empty. But it's cold, Lily whispered, a tear rolling down her cheek. Then you should have eaten faster, Diana hissed. Other children are grateful for their food. Other children don't complain. But you're always difficult, always dramatic, always causing problems. Lily's whole body was shaking now. More tears spilled down her face. Stop crying, Diana said sharply. You're embarrassing yourself. But Lily couldn't stop. She was trying so hard not to cry, but the tears kept coming. And that's when Marcus saw it. Really saw it. He saw the terror in his daughter's eyes. The way she was curled up in her chair, trying to make herself smaller. The way her hands trembled. The way she looked at Diana like she was looking at a monster. This wasn't discipline. This wasn't teaching. This was cruelty. This was abuse. And he had been blind to it. Something exploded inside Marcus. A rage so hot and fierce it burned through everything else. But beneath the rage was something worse. Guilt. Shame. He had let this happen. He had trusted this woman with his daughter, and she had hurt her. Every single day she had hurt her, and he hadn't seen it. Marcus didn't think. He just moved. His footsteps were heavy as he walked across the lunchroom floor. The sound made several children look up. A few teachers turned their heads. Diana was still standing over Lily, glaring down at her, when Marcus's voice cut through the air like thunder. Get away from my daughter. Diana's head snapped up. Her eyes widened when she saw Marcus standing there. For just a moment, one brief, telling moment, fear flashed across her face. Then she straightened up and smiled. That same warm, gentle smile she always used. "Marcus," she said brightly, as if nothing was wrong. "What a wonderful surprise. I didn't know you were visiting today." Marcus didn't smile back. His eyes were hard as stone. "Step away from her," he said quietly. "Now." The entire lunchroom had gone silent. Every child, every teacher, every lunch worker, everyone was watching. Diana's smile faltered. "Marcus, I said, step away." Diana took a step back, her hands raised slightly. "You're misunderstanding the situation. I was simply reminding Lily to finish her lunch. She has a habit of wasting food, and I don't." "Don't," Marcus's voice was low and dangerous. "Don't say another word." He walked past Diana without looking at her and knelt down beside Lily's chair. His daughter was still crying, her face buried in her hands. Her whole body was trembling. "Lily," Marcus said softly. His voice was completely different now, gentle, broken. "Lily, sweetheart, it's Daddy. Look at me." Lily peeked through her fingers. When she saw her father, a sob escaped her throat. "Daddy," she whispered, like she couldn't believe he was really there. "I'm here," Marcus said, his own eyes filling with tears. "I'm right here, baby." He looked down at the tray of cold, disgusting food. He looked at his daughter's thin arms and pale face. He looked at the tears streaming down her cheeks, and he understood everything. "You don't have to eat this," Marcus said firmly. "You never have to eat this again." But Miss Diana said. "I don't care what she said." Marcus's voice was fierce now. "She's wrong. She's been wrong about everything." He stood up and gently lifted Lily into his arms. She was so light, so small. She wrapped her thin arms around his neck and buried her face in his shoulder, crying harder now. Marcus turned to face Diana. She was standing a few feet away, her face tight with anger, but she was still trying to maintain her act. "Marcus, you're making a scene," she said, her voice strained. "Lily needs to learn discipline. She needs to be safe," Marcus interrupted, his voice shaking with barely controlled rage. "And she's not safe with you." Diana's eyes flashed. "I'm her teacher. I'm her mother. I know what's best for her." "You are not her mother," Marcus said, each word like a hammer blow. "And you never will be." He looked around the lunchroom. He saw the other teachers watching with shocked faces. He saw the children staring with wide eyes. He saw the lunch workers standing frozen in place. "Does anyone else see what's happening here?" Marcus asked loudly. "Does anyone else see how my daughter is being treated?" Silence. Then slowly, a young teacher near the back raised her hand. She looked nervous but determined. I've noticed," she said quietly. "Lily always sits alone. She always gets different food. And Miss Diana she's very strict with Lily. More strict than with the other children." Another teacher spoke up. "I've seen it, too. I thought about saying something, but you didn't," Marcus said, his voice heavy with disappointment. "None of you did." He looked back at Diana. Her mask was slipping now. Her face was red with anger. "You don't understand," Diana said tightly. "Lily is a difficult child. She needs special handling. She's manipulative. She's 9 years old," Marcus said, his voice breaking. "She's a scared, hurting little girl, and you've been torturing her." "I have done no such thing," Diana snapped, her composure finally cracking. "I have tried to help her. I have tried to teach her discipline and respect, but she's stubborn and ungrateful. Just like..." She stopped herself, but it was too late. "Just like what?" Marcus asked coldly. "Finish that sentence." Diana pressed her lips together and said nothing. Marcus held Lily closer. She was still crying into his shoulder, her small body shaking with sobs. "We're leaving," Marcus said. "And I'm calling my lawyer. Whatever you thought this was, whatever sick game you've been playing, it's over." He started walking toward the door. "Marcus, wait," Diana called out, her voice desperate now. "You're overreacting. If you would just listen to me." But Marcus didn't stop. He didn't look back. He carried his daughter out of the lunchroom, through the hallways, past the offices, and out into the bright afternoon sunlight. Lily clung to him like she was afraid he might disappear. "It's okay," Marcus whispered, his own tears falling now. "It's okay, sweetheart. I've got you." I've got you, and I'm never letting anyone hurt you again. He meant it. He would spend the rest of his life making sure of it. Marcus's driver was waiting by the car. When he saw Marcus carrying Lily, his eyes widened with concern. "Mr. Williams, is everything all right?" "Take us home," Marcus said. "Now." The driver opened the door quickly, and Marcus climbed into the back seat with Lily still in his arms. She hadn't let go of him. She held on to his shirt like it was the only safe thing in the world. As the car pulled away from the school, Marcus looked down at his daughter. Her crying had quieted to soft hiccups, but her eyes were red and swollen. Her face was so pale and thin. How had he not noticed? How had he been so blind? "Lily," he said gently. "I need you to tell me the truth. Has Miss Diana been treating you like that every day?" Lily didn't answer at first. She just stared at her hands. "You won't get in trouble," Marcus promised. "I just need to know what's been happening." Finally, in a voice so small Marcus had to lean closer to hear, Lily whispered, "Yes." Marcus's jaw tightened. "Every day?" Lily nodded. "What else has she done?" Marcus asked, though he wasn't sure he wanted to know the answer. "Has she hurt you in other ways?" Lily was quiet for a long moment. Then slowly, she began to speak. "At home, she makes me sit in my room for hours," Lily whispered. "She says I'm not allowed to come out until I've written, 'I will be a better daughter' 100 times. Marcus felt sick. "She takes away my drawing pencils," Lily continued, her voice shaking. "She says drawing is a waste of time. She says I need to focus on being better." "Better at what?" Marcus asked, his heart breaking with every word. "Just better." Lily's eyes filled with tears again. "She says I'm never good enough. She says I make her look bad. She says if I really loved you, I would try harder to be perfect." Marcus pulled Lily closer, his own eyes burning. "Oh, baby. You are perfect. You've always been perfect." "But she says." "She's wrong," Marcus said firmly. "Everything she's told you is a lie." Lily looked up at him with those big, sad eyes. "Are you going to send me back to school?" "No," Marcus said immediately. "Never. Not to that school. Not with her. But she's your wife. She lives in our house." Marcus's expression hardened. Not for long. When they arrived home, Mrs. Patterson was in the kitchen preparing dinner. She looked up when she heard the front door open, and her face went pale when she saw Marcus carrying Lily. "Mr. Williams, what happened?" "Mrs. Patterson," Marcus said, his voice tight with controlled anger. "How long have you known?" Mrs. Patterson's eyes widened. She looked at Lily, then back at Marcus. "Known what, sir?" "Don't," Marcus said. "Don't protect her. Not anymore. How long have you known what Diana has been doing to Lily?" Mrs. Patterson's shoulders sagged. She looked down at her hands, shame written across her face. "I suspected from the beginning," she admitted quietly. "But I had no proof. And when I tried to tell you, I didn't listen." Marcus felt the weight of his failure crushing down on him. "I should have listened." "Yes," Mrs. Patterson said, meeting his eyes. "You should have." The word stung, but Marcus knew he deserved them. "Where is Diana now?" he asked. "She's not home yet. She usually arrives around 4 o'clock. Marcus looked at the clock. It was 1:30. He had time. "Lily," he said gently. "Mrs. Patterson is going to take you upstairs. She's going to make you something warm to eat, whatever you want, and then she's going to stay with you. Okay?" Lily's grip tightened on his shirt. "Don't leave me." "I'm not leaving," Marcus promised. "I'm just going to make some phone calls, very important phone calls, and then I'll come check on you. I promise." Lily looked uncertain, but Mrs. Patterson stepped forward with gentle eyes. "Come, sweet girl," she said softly. "I'll make you hot chocolate and cinnamon toast. And we can sit together by the window. Would you like that?" Lily hesitated, then slowly nodded. Marcus set her down carefully, and Mrs. Patterson took her hand. As they walked toward the stairs, Marcus heard Mrs. Patterson whisper, "You're safe now. I won't let anything happen to you." Marcus watched them go, then pulled out his phone. He had 3 calls to make. The first call was to his lawyer, James Mitchell. "James, I need you to prepare divorce papers immediately," Marcus said without preamble. "Emergency filing. I want her out of my house tonight." "Marcus, what's going on?" "My wife has been abusing my daughter," Marcus said, his voice hard. Emotionally and psychologically. 4 months. I have witnesses. I have evidence. And I want her gone. There was a pause on the other end. Are you sure about this? These are serious accusations. I'm sure. Marcus's voice was like steel. I saw it with my own eyes today. She's been starving my daughter, humiliating her, isolating her. And I was too busy and too stupid to see it. All right, James said, his tone shifting to business mode. I'll file for an emergency divorce and a restraining order. I'll also contact Child Protective Services. They'll want to investigate. Do whatever you need to do, Marcus said. I want a paper trail. I want records. I want to make sure she never gets near another child again. Understood. I'll have the papers ready by this evening. The second call was to the principal of Westfield Academy. Mr. Williams, Principal Davidson said warmly. I heard you visited today. I apologize that I wasn't available to meet with you about the library donation. I'm not calling about the donation, Marcus interrupted. I'm calling to inform you that my daughter will not be returning to your school. I'm sorry to hear that. May I ask why? Because one of your teachers, my wife, has been abusing her, Marcus said bluntly. In front of other teachers. In front of other students. And no one did anything about it. Silence. Mr. Williams, I wasn't aware of any. Then you should have been, Marcus said coldly. I will be filing a formal complaint. I will be contacting the school board. And if I find out that anyone on your staff knew what was happening and stayed silent, I will take legal action. Mr. Williams, please, let's discuss this rationally. There's nothing to discuss. My daughter was being tortured under your roof, and your staff did nothing. That's all I need to know. He hung up before the principal could respond. The third call was the hardest. He called Dr. Rebecca Chen, a child psychologist who had helped Lily briefly after her mother died. Lily had stopped going to sessions when Diana came into their lives. Diana had said therapy was unnecessary and that she could help Lily better than any doctor. Another mistake. Another time Marcus hadn't listened to his instincts. Dr. Chen, Marcus said when she answered. This is Marcus Williams. I need your help. It's urgent. By 3 o'clock, Marcus had made all his calls. James was preparing the divorce papers. The principal was panicking. Dr. Chen had agreed to come to the house that evening to see Lily. Marcus went upstairs to check on his daughter. He found Lily and Mrs. Patterson sitting together in Lily's room. Lily was wearing warm pajamas and holding a mug of hot chocolate. She had eaten half a piece of cinnamon toast, more than Marcus had seen her eat in weeks. How are you feeling, sweetheart? Marcus asked, sitting down on the edge of the bed. Lily looked at him with uncertain eyes. Is Miss Diana going to be angry at me? Miss Diana is not going to hurt you ever again, Marcus said firmly. I promise you that. But she's going to come home, Lily said, her voice small and scared. She always comes home. Yes, she'll come home, Marcus said. But I'm going to talk to her, and then she's going to leave. She won't live here anymore. Lily's eyes went wide. Really? Really? But you married her. You said she was going to be my new mommy. Marcus's heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. I was wrong, he said, his voice thick with emotion. I made a terrible mistake. I thought she would take care of you. I thought she would love you. But I was wrong. And I'm so sorry. Lily stared at him, and for the first time in months, something shifted in her eyes. A tiny spark of hope. You're not mad at me, she whispered. Mad at you? Marcus looked horrified. Lily, no. None of this is your fault. Not one single bit. You didn't do anything wrong. But Miss Diana said. Miss Diana lied, Marcus took Lily's small hands in his. She lied about everything. You are a wonderful, kind, beautiful little girl. You are smart and creative and brave. And I'm so sorry I didn't protect you. Lily's lip trembled. Then suddenly, she threw her arms around Marcus's neck and burst into tears, real, deep, sobbing tears that seemed to come from somewhere deep inside her. Marcus held her tightly, rocking her gently as she cried. Mrs. Patterson quietly wiped her own eyes with her apron. I was so scared, Daddy, Lily sobbed. I was so scared all the time. I know, baby. I know. But you don't have to be scared anymore. I'm here now. I'm not going anywhere. They sat like that for a long time, until Lily's sobs quieted into hiccups and then into steady breathing. She was falling asleep in his arms, exhausted from months of fear and pain. Marcus gently laid her down on the bed and pulled the blanket over her. He brushed her hair back from her face. "I'll be right downstairs," he whispered. "You're safe now." Mrs. Patterson followed him out into the hallway, pulling the door mostly closed behind them. "What are you going to do when she gets here?" Mrs. Patterson asked quietly. Marcus's expression was cold and hard. "I'm going to tell her exactly what I think of her. And then I'm going to make sure she pays for what she's done. Be careful, Mr. Williams. That woman is dangerous." "I know," Marcus said. "But so am I. Especially when someone hurts my daughter." At 4:15, Marcus heard the front door open. He was sitting in the living room, waiting. His lawyer had already delivered the divorce papers. They sat on the coffee table in front of him. "Marcus?" Diana's voice called out from the entryway. "Marcus, are you home? We need to talk about what happened today. You completely embarrassed me in front of my colleagues." Marcus didn't answer. He heard her heels clicking across the marble floor as she came into the living room. When she saw him sitting there, her expression shifted. She could tell something was different. "What's going on?" she asked, her voice careful now. Marcus picked up the envelope from the coffee table and held it out to her. "What's this?" Diana asked. "Open it." Diana took the envelope and pulled out the papers. As she read, her face went from confusion to shock to rage. "Divorce papers," she said, her voice rising. "Are you serious right now?" "Completely serious. Because of what happened at school." Diana laughed, but it sounded forced. "Marcus, you're being ridiculous. Lily's fine. She's just—" "Don't," Marcus said, his voice deadly calm. "Don't say her name. Don't pretend like you care about her. We both know the truth now." Diana's eyes narrowed. "What exactly do you think you know?" "Everything," Marcus said. "I know you've been abusing her. I know you've been starving her, humiliating her, hurting her. I know you've made her life a living hell while I was too blind to see it." "That's absurd," Diana snapped. "I have been trying to help that child. She's difficult and manipulative, Anne. She's 9 years old." Marcus's voice rose for the first time, echoing through the room. "She's a traumatized little girl who lost her mother. And instead of helping her, you tortured her." Diana's mask finally dropped completely. Her face twisted with anger. "You want to know the truth," she said coldly. "Fine. Yes, I was hard on her. Because she needed it. She was spoiled and weak and pathetic, just like her mother probably was." Marcus stood up, his fists clenched at his sides. "Watch your mouth." "Or what?" Diana challenged. "You'll divorce me." "Too late for that. You already are. You'll ruin my reputation." "Go ahead. I'll tell everyone that you're an absent father who ignored his daughter until it was convenient to play the hero." "Get out of my house," Marcus said quietly. "This is my house, too," Diana shot back. "I'm your wife." "Not anymore." Marcus's voice was ice. "You have 30 minutes to pack a bag and leave. My lawyer will contact you about the rest of your belongings." "You can't do this." "I already have." Marcus stepped closer, his eyes blazing. "And if you ever come near my daughter again, if you ever even speak her name, I will make sure you never teach again. I will make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of person you are." Diana stared at him, her face red with fury. For a moment, Marcus thought she might lash out physically. But then she laughed, a cold, bitter sound. "You think you've won," she said. "But you haven't. That girl is broken, Marcus. I didn't break her. Her mother's death did. And nothing you do will fix her. Get out." Diana grabbed her purse and headed for the stairs. "I'll get my things. But this isn't over." "Yes," Marcus said to her back. "It is." 20 minutes later, Diana came back downstairs with 2 suitcases. Her face was cold and hard, like stone. She didn't say goodbye. She didn't apologize. She just walked out the front door and slammed it behind her. Marcus stood in the living room for a long moment, listening to the sound of her car driving away. Then his legs gave out. He sank down onto the couch, put his face in his hands, and finally let himself feel everything. The guilt crashed over him like a wave. He had failed his daughter. He had brought a monster into their home and called her mother. He had ignored the warnings, dismissed the signs, and trusted the wrong person. Lily had been suffering for months, and he hadn't seen it. What kind of father does that? Mrs. Patterson found him there 10 minutes later, still sitting with his head in his hands. She didn't say anything. She just sat down beside him and patted his shoulder gently. "You did the right thing today," she said quietly. "I should have done it months ago," Marcus said, his voice muffled. "You tried to tell me. You tried to warn me." "Yes, I did," Mrs. Patterson said honestly. "But you're listening now. That's what matters." Marcus lifted his head and looked at her. "How do I fix this? How do I help her heal from what I let happen?" "You start by being there," Mrs. Patterson said. "Every day, every moment she needs you. You don't fix it quickly. You fix it slowly, with patience and love." Marcus nodded, wiping his eyes. "I'm going to take time off work. As much time as she needs." "Good," Mrs. Patterson said. "That's a start." That evening, Dr. Rebecca Chin arrived at the house. She was a kind woman in her 50s with gray hair and gentle eyes. She had helped Lily after Grace died, and Lily remembered her. When Dr. Chen came upstairs to Lily's room, Lily was sitting by the window with a blanket wrapped around her shoulders. She looked so small and fragile. "Hello, Lily," Dr. Chen said softly, sitting down in a chair nearby. "Do you remember me?" Lily nodded slowly. "Your father told me you've been having a hard time," Dr. Chen said. "He's very worried about you. He asked me to come talk to you, if that's okay." Lily didn't say anything for a moment. Then in a whisper, she asked, "Is Miss Diana really gone?" "Yes," Dr. Chen said. "She's really gone. She won't be coming back." Lily's eyes filled with tears. "What if she comes back anyway? What if she gets mad at me for telling?" "She can't come back," Dr. Chen said gently. "Your father has made sure of that. There are legal papers now that say she's not allowed to come near you or this house. If she tries, the police will stop her." "Really?" Lily's voice was so small and hopeful. "Really," Dr. Chen confirmed. "You're safe now, Lily. I know it's hard to believe after everything that's happened. But it's true." Lily was quiet for a long time, staring out the window at the darkening sky. "She said it was my fault," Lily finally whispered. "She said if I was a better daughter, she wouldn't have to be so mean. She said I made her do it." Dr. Chen's heart ached. She had heard these words from so many children before, children who had been hurt by adults they were supposed to trust. "Lily, look at me," Dr. Chen said gently. Lily slowly turned her head. "Nothing that happened was your fault," Dr. Chen said, speaking slowly and clearly so Lily would hear every word. "Adults are responsible for their own actions. You did not make her hurt you. You could not have stopped her. She chose to be cruel, and that choice was hers alone. Do you understand?" Lily's lip trembled. "But I wasn't good enough. I tried to be good, but—" "You were always good enough," Dr. Chen said firmly. "You are a wonderful child, just as you are. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to earn love. You already deserve it, just by being you." Lily burst into tears. Dr. Chen moved to sit beside her on the window seat and gently put an arm around her shoulders. Lily leaned into her, crying hard. "It's okay to cry," Dr. Chen said softly. "You've been holding this inside for so long. Let it out. You're safe now." They sat together as Lily cried, deep, painful sobs that seemed to come from the very bottom of her heart. Downstairs, Marcus heard his daughter crying. Every sob felt like a knife in his chest. But Mrs. Patterson put a hand on his arm. "Let her cry," she said. "She needs this. She needs to let the poison out." Marcus nodded, even though every instinct screamed at him to run upstairs and hold his daughter. But Mrs. Patterson was right. Lily needed to cry. She needed to release all the fear and pain she'd been holding inside. Later that night, after Dr. Chen had left with promises to return the next day, Marcus sat on the edge of Lily's bed. Lily was tucked under her blankets, looking exhausted but a little less afraid than before. "Daddy," she said quietly. "Yes, sweetheart. Are you going to go back to work tomorrow?" Marcus shook his head. "No. I'm taking time off work. I'm going to be here with you every day." Lily's eyes widened. "Really? But your company?" "My company will be fine without me for a while," Marcus said. "You're more important than any building or business deal. You're the most important thing in the world to me, Lily. And I'm so sorry it took me this long to show you that." Lily's eyes filled with tears again, but this time they looked different, softer, less afraid. "I missed you, Daddy," she whispered. "Even when you were here, I missed you." Marcus felt his own eyes burning. I missed you, too, baby. And I'm not going to miss anymore. I promise. He leaned down and kissed her forehead. Try to get some sleep, he said. I'll be right down the hall. If you need me for any reason, you just call for me. Okay. I'll come running. Okay, Lily said quietly. Marcus stood up and started to leave, but Lily's voice stopped him. Daddy? He turned back. Yes. Thank you for saving me. Marcus's heart broke and healed at the same time. Always, he said, his voice thick with emotion. I will always save you. Always. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. He lay in his bed staring at the ceiling, replaying everything in his mind. He thought about the day he met Diana and how charming she had seemed. He thought about the wedding and how happy he thought they'd be. He thought about all the times Mrs. Patterson had tried to warn him. All the times Lily had seemed sad or scared, and he just assumed it was normal grief. He had been so blind. At 2 o'clock in the morning, he heard a sound, a small, frightened cry. Marcus was out of bed and running before he even fully woke up. He burst into Lily's room and found her sitting up in bed, breathing hard, tears streaming down her face. Lily, what's wrong? I had a nightmare, Lily gasped. Miss Diana was here. She was yelling at me, and. It's okay, Marcus said, sitting on the bed and pulling her into his arms. It was just a dream. She's not here. She's gone. But what if she comes back? Lily sobbed. What if she finds a way back in? She won't, Marcus said firmly. I won't let her. No one is going to hurt you ever again, Lily. I promise you. I will protect you. Lily clung to him, shaking. Do you want me to stay with you? Marcus asked. Lily nodded against his chest. So Marcus lay down on top of the blankets beside his daughter and held her hand. He stayed there all night, watching over her as she finally fell back asleep. He didn't sleep himself. He just watched her breathe, watched the moonlight fall across her peaceful face, and made a silent vow. I will spend the rest of my life making this right, he thought. I will be the father she deserves. Starting now. The next morning, Lily woke up to find her father still beside her, holding her hand. Daddy, she whispered. Did you stay all night? Yes, Marcus said softly. And I'll stay every night if you need me to. Lily looked at him for a long moment. Then, for the first time in months, she smiled. It was a small smile, a fragile smile, but it was real. And Marcus felt hope bloom in his chest. Over the next few days, things began to change in the Williams household. Marcus cancelled all his work meetings. He told his company that he was taking an extended leave of absence. His assistant could handle the day-to-day operations. Right now, his daughter needed him more than his business did. Every morning, Marcus made breakfast with Mrs. Patterson. They made pancakes and eggs and fresh fruit, all of Lily's favorite foods that Diana had forbidden. At first, Lily only ate a few bites. Her stomach had shrunk from months of not eating properly. But Marcus didn't push her. He just sat with her, talking gently, making her feel safe. Dr. Chen came to the house every afternoon. Sometimes she talked to Lily alone. Sometimes Marcus joined them. Slowly, gently, they began to unpack everything that had happened. Lily talked about the punishments at home, the hours locked in her room, the cruel words, the constant criticism. She talked about school, the isolation, the cold food, the public humiliation. She talked about how scared she'd been all the time, how she'd felt like she was drowning and no one could hear her calling for help. Marcus listened to every word, and each one felt like a punch to his gut. But he didn't look away. He didn't make excuses. He sat there and listened, and he let Lily see how sorry he was. I should have noticed, he said one afternoon, his voice breaking. I should have seen what was happening. You were busy, Lily said quietly. She was drawing at the table while they talked, something Dr. Chen had encouraged her to do again. That's not an excuse, Marcus said. You needed me, and I wasn't there. But I'm here now, Lily. And I'm not going anywhere. Lily looked up from her drawing. Promise? I promise, Marcus said, meeting her eyes. I will never leave you again. Not like that. You are my number one priority. Always. Lily's eyes filled with tears, but she smiled through them. I love you, Daddy, she whispered. I love you, too, sweetheart, Marcus said, his own voice thick with emotion. More than anything in this world. Meanwhile, the outside world was starting to learn what had happened. The school board launched an investigation into Westfield Academy. Several teachers came forward to confirm that they had witnessed Diana's treatment of Lily but had been afraid to report it. The principal was forced to resign for failing to protect a student. Diana herself was fired and lost her teaching license. The State Board of Education opened their own investigation. Marcus's lawyer filed formal charges: child abuse, emotional cruelty, neglect. The local news picked up the story: teacher accused of abusing stepdaughter at elite private school. Marcus refused all interview requests. He didn't want publicity. He just wanted justice. And slowly, painfully, he got it. Diana was arrested. She spent a night in jail before posting bail. She hired an expensive lawyer and tried to fight the charges, claiming she was innocent, claiming Lily was lying, claiming Marcus was just a bitter ex-husband. But there were too many witnesses, too much evidence. The security footage from the school cafeteria showed everything: Diana's cruelty, Lily's fear, the cold food, the isolation. Teachers testified about what they'd seen. Dr. Chen provided expert testimony about Lily's trauma. Even Mrs. Patterson took the stand and told the court about the changes she'd witnessed in Lily after Diana moved in. In the end, Diana accepted a plea deal. She was convicted of child endangerment and emotional abuse. She received a suspended sentence, meaning she wouldn't go to jail as long as she completed probation and mandatory counseling. But she was also ordered to stay away from Lily forever, a permanent restraining order. If she ever came near Lily again, she would go to prison. Marcus wanted her to face harsher punishment, but his lawyer explained that emotional abuse cases were difficult to prosecute. The fact that Diana was convicted at all was a victory. It's not about revenge, Dr. Chen reminded Marcus. It's about keeping Lily safe. And that's what this does. Marcus knew she was right. But it still felt like Diana had gotten off too easy. 3 months passed. Winter turned to spring. And slowly, very slowly, Lily began to heal. It wasn't a straight path. There were good days and bad days. There were nights when Lily woke up screaming from nightmares. There were mornings when she couldn't eat because her stomach was in knots. There were moments when she saw someone who looked like Diana and froze in fear. But there were also moments of light. The first time Lily laughed, really laughed at something funny Marcus said, they both froze in surprise. Then Lily laughed harder, and Marcus started laughing, too. And Mrs. Patterson came running from the kitchen to see what was happening. She's laughing, Mrs. Patterson said, her eyes filling with happy tears. Our girl is laughing again. The first time Lily asked for seconds at dinner, Marcus had to leave the table for a moment because he was crying too hard to hide it. The first time Lily showed him a drawing she'd made, a picture of the two of them holding hands in the garden, Marcus hung it in his office where he could see it every single day. Progress was slow, but it was real. Dr. Chen continued to visit 3 times a week. She taught Lily ways to deal with her anxiety and fear. She helped Lily understand that what happened wasn't her fault. She gave Lily tools to feel safe again. And Marcus was there for all of it. He kept his promise. He didn't go back to work. He spent every day with Lily, reading books together, taking walks in the garden, teaching her to cook simple meals, sitting with her while she drew. They talked about everything. Marcus told Lily stories about her mother, Grace, happy stories that made Lily smile. Lily told Marcus about her fears and dreams. They were learning to be close again, learning to trust each other again. Marcus learned a painful lesson, but he learned it in time. He learned that being a father isn't just about providing material things. It's about being there, truly there, to see, to listen, and to protect. If you're a parent watching this, take a moment today to really look at your child. Ask them how they're doing. Listen to what they say, and more importantly, listen to what they don't say. Trust your instincts. And if something feels wrong, investigate. Don't ignore the warning signs. And if you're someone who has experienced abuse like Lily, please know this: it was never your fault. You deserved better. You deserved love, safety, and kindness. And it's never too late to heal. Please hit the like button if this story touched you. Subscribe to Black Tales every day for more powerful stories like this one. And most importantly, drop a comment below telling us where you're watching from and what lesson you've learned from Marcus and Lily's story. Remember, the greatest gift you can give someone you love is your presence, your attention, and your unwavering protection. Until next time, take care of each other.